What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I'm going to show you a few clips today. We're going to be talking about the economy and the talk of tariffs. We just saw the CPI numbers come out a few days ago, and now we're getting the PPI numbers that are coming out. And I'm going to show you a few different clips because this is not good news when it comes to tariffs and inflation and how this is impacting our country. So let me show you the first clip, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. And then I want to show you at the very end of this video, I want to show you, we're going to go back to 2022. And the reason why we should be concerned about inflation and tariffs is because if we go back to 2022, we saw some of the same numbers when it comes to PPI. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that in this video. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video. And if you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel.
Back, we have breaking news right now and a spike in the producer price level of inflation. Take a look. Markets are selling off here because the July PPI came in up 0.9%. Worse than the estimated up 0.2%. This is the headline number. It was expected up 0.2, came up 0.9%. Year over year, it is up 3.3% versus an estimate of up 2.5%. Now, when you look at core, it's also troubling because in the core PPI, it was up 0.9% versus an estimate of 0.2%. Year over year, the core up 3.7%, also higher than the estimated expectation, which was up 2.9%. These numbers have caused markets to drop. The Dow Industrial is down 105, the Nasdaq down 71, and the S&P 500 lower by 19.
Okay, so that was Fox Business. Now, the reason I like to show you Fox Business is because generally they're pretty kind to the president. We all know that because when the CPI numbers came out just a couple of days ago, they were saying, look, they're not as bad as we thought they were going to be. This whole talk of inflation and all of this with tariffs, and this is all just made up. This is not going to be a problem. But now you see the serious tone in her voice when she's talking about PPI and when they're showing the stock market just tanking right now. So it's not good. This is not good news when it comes to inflation, and they know it, and that's why they're putting this information out. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at CNBC.
Headline number is whoppingly big. Oh my goodness. Up 0.9%. Up 0.9. And if you strip out food and energy, guess what? It's still up 0.9. Boy, that equals June of 22. You're to March of 22 on the headline to find a bigger number. On the core number, that would comp to March of 22 since we've...
Okay, now he keeps saying March of 22. Now I'm going to go at the end of this video, I'm going to show you what happened and what was going on in that time period in 2022.
Had a number of that magnitude when it was 1.2%. These are kind of COVID distorted numbers. Now, let's look at ex-food, energy, and trade. Triple the expectations. All three of those were expected to be up 0.2. This is up 0.6. 0.6 would be the highest level since March of 22 when it was 0.9. Now, let's go year over year. These are warm too. 3.7, excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. Final demand year over year is 3.3. We're expecting 2.5. Now 3.3, that would be the highest since February. The high water mark was January this year at 3.8. Now 2.8 is X food, energy, and trade. That is definitely higher than 2.5 expected. 2.8 would be the highest since March. And right in the middle there, we have X just food and energy. That number coming in at 3.7. I kept it for last because that really is a very, very large number. 3.7, that would be the largest since March when it was 3.9. So we see every single metric is warmer than expected. Every single metric is significantly higher sequentially.
Okay, so you might not understand any of what he just said, or you might not understand PPI and all this, but what you do need to understand, this is not good news for our economy. This means that things will get more and more expensive. Now, there is a spin on this, and I'm going to show you. We're going to go right back to Fox Business, and they're trying to put a spin on this. And I want to talk a little bit about this spin, but let me play this first. Here we go.
Today's producer price index report, Dana, was very clear. The PPI was up 0.9%, much higher than the expectation, which was 0.2%. What does that tell you? That tells you that producers companies are eating the tariffs. It's exactly what that tells you. Because earlier this week, we had a CPI, a consumer price index, that showed consumer prices are running at about a 2.7% annualized rate, steady from the month before. So you've got consumer prices basically where we expected them to be, given the fact that oil prices have come way down, egg prices have come way down, and food prices have come way down, and a producer price index.
Okay, now she just said food prices have come way down. Now, I want you guys in the comments to let me know if that's true. Food prices have come way down.
That's actually hotter than expected. That tells you companies are eating the tariffs and foreigners are eating the tariffs, not the American consumer.
Okay, so let's talk about this spin. So she's saying everything is fine when it comes to food. Food prices aren't going up. They're going down. When it comes to egg prices are going down. Energy or gas is going down. But the reality is gas is staying pretty steady. When it comes to egg prices, yes, egg prices will go up and down. And we know that they went up in January and February, and that was as a result of the bird flu and all that. So they go up and down. That happens. It happened during the Biden administration. But when it comes to the tariffs and when it comes to companies eating the tariffs, which means that they're not passing it on to the consumer, they're only going to do that for a certain amount of time. Eventually, companies will pass this on to the consumer. Because you think a company is going to just take this 15% or 25% loss every month? They're not ever going to pass it on to the consumer? They're going to. And that just shows you that these tariffs are impacting these companies. And that's why we're seeing the numbers in PPI that we're seeing. So eventually what they're going to do, the companies are going to pass it on to the consumer. And then you're going to see CPI inflation skyrocket. And so that's just a matter of time. And so we see already that tariffs aren't having the impact that the White House wants them to have. It's not improving our economy. It's actually hurting our economy, which economists are out there saying, they've been saying this for months now. And we're starting to see the impact of this. Okay, now I told you I wanted to show you this illustration back in 2022 when we were looking at CPI. So these are the CPI numbers for all of 2022. And so we saw CPI at 7.5%. That was in January. 7.9%. That was in February. In March, it was at 8.5%. It dropped down a little bit to 8.3% in April. And then in May, it was at 8.6%. And then in June, we saw it shoot up to 9.1%. And then from that point on, it dropped down 8.5, 8.3, 8.2, 7.7, 7.1, 6.5. So that's what we were looking at when we're looking at inflation. CPI, Consumer Price Index, we're talking about inflation here. So we saw the highest point in June, 9.1%. Now, we're looking at right now, what was it, 2.7%? But that was the last CPI that came out. And so if we're looking at the indicators, looking at PPI, looking at CPI, and we see the gradual increase in CPI, it's gone from 2.5, 2.6, 2.7. So we're seeing it start to increase. And so what that probably will mean is inflation is going to start going up. And we might see it really spike at the end of the year because that's when consumers are going to be out shopping for Christmas and things like that. So this is really bad news. And even though you have some people trying to spin it, just like we were looking at Fox Business where she's trying to spin it and say, well, you know, the companies are eating the tariffs and all of this, eventually they're not going to continue to eat the tariffs and we're going to have to pay for it. And that's what's been said all along. Now we're actually seeing the raw data that's coming out and showing us this. Now, my hope is that we will continue to see accurate data because we could get to a point where if this data isn't favorable to the White House, they might choose to not share it with us. They might say, well, we'll wait. They're already talking about the jobs numbers. Why don't we wait until we have all the information in there before we do those? So stop doing the month-to-month job reports. But the month-to-month job reports actually give you a little indicator of how things are going, even though they revise it in the future. And basically the way it works is they send out these questionnaires to all the different companies, and some companies will go ahead and send that survey right back in, but some companies, it takes them a little time to send the survey back, and that's why they have to make the revisions. But for the companies that have sent it back, it's good because at least it gives you an indicator month to month how things are going in the jobs market. But what the new appointment for BLS, what he is saying is he's saying, well, we shouldn't even do that. let's do it by quarter, or let's not do the month to month anymore. That's going to be a huge problem, and it's going to really impact our economy because we're not going to know for a period of time if things are really bad. And so that's a problem. But I just wanted to bring this information to you. There's a lot that's on the line when it comes to our economy. Not only people in the workforce, but also people who are retired, people receiving Social Security. This all matters because if we have a bad economy, it impacts the trust funds that we have, because if we have less people in the workforce, that's less money being collected through FICA. That means you have to pull more money from the trust funds, which depletes the trust fund that much faster. And we'd be looking at a situation where everyone receiving Social Security benefits in, let's say, 8 or 9 years, they're going to see that cut across the board. If we're in a bad economy and you have less people working and less money coming from FICA, that 2033 deadline that they're talking about right now, it could be pushed to 2030. It could be pushed to 2029. And so that will impact people receiving Social Security benefits. So don't just think, oh, it's a bad economy, well, I don't have to worry about it. I'm retired. I'm not working anymore, so it's not going to impact me. It's going to impact everyone. And if we see inflation on top of that, and so if we see the stagflation that we're hearing some economists talk about, that means prices are going to still be high. So you're still going to be paying a lot for all of these different products, but we're also going to have high unemployment, which is going to impact Social Security. So I want to know what you guys think about all this. So let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.